So here's the more in-depth video. Alright, so first things first, I'll talk about the fuel lines. The fuel lines that I had, the Mark IIs have 3 fuel lines because they have an external fuel filter system. It's really shitty. So that got removed, taken, put in the trash. If you need, if you're doing a TDI swap with myself, these are actually Mark III TDI fuel lines. The entire line from the tank all the way to the front. They fit perfectly. They fall under in the same grooves as the Mark II ones do, and it was like a no hassle plug and play. So if you guys are looking into doing a TDI, which I'm sure you can even do it with gas, with the gas lines from a Mark III, I would really highly suggest that if you are having issues with the fuel line or that old school fuel system, delete it and use the actual used Mark III fuel lines, because they came off of a Jetta and they fit perfect. Like I said, perfect length and everything. The only thing I had to do was the Mark IV sending unit, which you're not going to be able to see because it's in the tank already, but maybe I can show the Mark II one. Give me a second. Yeah, here's the Mark II sending unit. So the Mark II sending unit, it comes straight out. As you can see here, they come, horizontally out this way. So when you get the fuel lines just have rubber grommets, and you just slide them in and put your hose clamps. Well, the Mark IVs, instead of them being set in an angle like this, they're sticking straight up and down. And so what I had to do is, because I did want to use the Mark IV sending unit because I'm using the Mark IV gauge cluster, I was having a hard time getting it to fit in the tank. Well, I found out later, after doing a lot of research, this is the Mark IV cap. The Mark III cap looks identical, except the threads are thinner. Like, these threads are thicker. The Mark III threads are a little finer, I guess is the best way to say it. So after getting the Mark III cap and putting it on there, it fit perfectly. Like, it fit right into the tank and it closed. I was having a hard time shutting it, and it was because the threads. I thought it was a sending unit. And other than getting the cap to fit the Mark IV sending unit, I had to get the Mark IV fuel lines, which I threw the rest away. But the Mark IV, if you're not familiar, they have quick connects on their sending unit. It's a quick little plastic connector that slips on top of the little nipple, and it clips in place. So I cut those off of the Mark IV lines, and I put them onto the end of the Mark III lines. Because on the other side of the Mark III lines, it's like this. It's rubber again on the last bit, because they're designed to go into the Mark II, like that goes straight in. So I just put the quick connects on there and put freaking hose clamps on there, and boom, perfect. Now I have quick connect just like the Mark IV does on the back side, and just regular in the front, which I had to do a lot of research to figure that stuff out, because a lot of people don't do the amount of work that I did, because their stuff is functional, which mine was functional, but it was just more of a headache, so I didn't want to deal with it. So if you guys are looking into it and trying to figure out what you need to do, what I recommend is a Mark III gas tank. Unless you're doing a Mark III like 2-liter ABA, there's no point, because the gas tank's the same, and then sending unit size is the same, real small sending unit size. If you're doing like a TDI, I would recommend going Mark III TDI tank with the Mark IV sending unit, if you have it, with the Mark III cap so that it fits, and Mark III fuel lines. It'll be a perfect fit. So the only other thing you have to do for the gas tank is you have to keep the rubber grommet right here, the little rubber grommet that goes around to hold the thing in place. You have to use the Mark II one. Yeah, right here's the Mark IV one. I thought it would work, and I tried fitting it in there, and it doesn't line up properly, and it's like kinked. So you just take this off the gas tank with the hose, and then the Mark II one has a hose as well. I just plugged it into the little side, and this is the drain hose, and the Mark II one fit right around the Mark III tank, no problems, perfect fitment. So that was easy. Also, you need the Mark III straps. I made the mistake and didn't pull the tank straps the first time from the junkyard, and I had to go back and get them. So if you're gonna use a Mark III tank, Mark III straps. So that's for the fuel system. On the brake system, because I'm not using ABS anymore, you need a Mark III non-ABS brake booster. With the brake booster doesn't matter, but you need the non-ABS master cylinder, which I haven't purchased yet. But it has the same little ball on the back end like the Mark IVs, so it bolts up to the Mark IV brake pedal, which is right here. This is the brake and gas pedal, and if you can see right there, the ball goes in there and it clips in place. These are broke, which is really common, but it still holds in place, so it shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, there's a ball that goes in there like that. So you have to get a Mark III one that has the ball at the end. And then I'm trying to think what else. So that's all you really need to do to convert your brake system, which my brake system, I didn't really get to do the whole conversion I wanted to do, which part of it was going to be using the front, the Mark III K-frame with all the stuff. That ended up being problematic. So all I'm doing is I have the Golf GLs and Jetta GLs come with solid rotors. So all I'm doing is getting 9.4 inch vented rotors, which came on a GTI. It's the same size and everything. It's just vented versus slotted, or vented versus solid. So I'm getting the GTI front rotors, so I'll have, you know, some solid in there so I don't have the warpage. And then you have to get GTI brake calipers, or I'm sorry, brake pads. But the calipers, everything else is the same. So it's a quick, easy upgrade to get, I guess, a little bit better stopping power. In the back, the Mark IIIs have solid rotors as well, but I can't remember. I have to look it up again, but I believe it was a Jetta. I can't remember which one it is, but one of them has vented rotors for the rear, so you don't have to have, you can have vented all the way around. And then I'll have the Mark III rear rotors with the Mark IV calipers, you know, like the real common brake upgrade there. And then when it comes to the brake system, I have to run some hard lines because some of my hard lines were damaged. So like these hard lines right here, I pulled the ones off the Mark III. Like these are off of the Mark III that were on the frame already. So I just got to get a few little extension pieces and stuff like that and make my own. I only have to make like 2 because I pulled the Mark III ones, and the Mark III ones should fit, like be a nice clean fit, just like all the other Mark III parts have been. So then after that, the only thing that's left underneath the car is going to be installing the Mark IV shifter, which is right there, and installing the Mark III e-brake cables. Because if you're going to use that rear brake conversion from a Mark III, you have to run different e-brake cables, which my e-brake cables are rusted and stuff anyway. And I was trying to pull them from the Mark III that was at the junkyard, but they were all damaged. Like somebody tried to pull the cable already and stripped out the bolts that hold it to the actual e-brake lever. So I ended up leaving them, and you can get them from AutoZone for like $10 for each one. So $20 and you get a set of new ones anyway. So I'm just gonna go with that. So that's pretty much it when it comes to like how much custom work you have to do with certain parts, other than what I've already showed already for the parts that I'm using. So that's all I really had to do for what I did so far. And you know, after it goes to the body shop, I'll be posting a couple videos of the parts going into the Mark II parts, like some of the Mark IV parts going in, and getting all the stuff ready for installation. Because I'm gonna be cleaning the motor after the car's gone, be hitting it with a lot of degreaser, cleaning the whole thing, and then doing the timing belt and everything on it. I'm also gonna be cleaning out the heater core and what was the other piece? The heater core and the intercooler. We'll be cleaning that out with acetone. I believe you can use it on the AC system, the evaporator, but I'm not going to, because I mean it's inside the car. I'm just gonna clean the outside. It has a lot of nasty little things there. I'm just gonna, you know, hit it with a little bit of the pressure washer or whatever and just call it a day. So but yeah, I'm gonna be cleaning all these parts and getting them installed into their appropriate areas. And then it should be good. After that, it should be pretty much flying colors after that, just waiting for parts here and there. So hope you guys enjoy. Like I said, sorry for the late update, and hopefully we'll keep going with this build. See you guys later.